Hi everyone and welcome to the General Hospital recap for August 23rd. As always, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our videos or recaps. This is the final mini mass upload. So the 23rd, unfortunately I have filmed this, edited it, and uploaded it. The upload had failed, but before I realized that, because there was kind of a delay, I not only deleted the project, but I deleted the raw footage. Here we are again, filming for the 23rd, so let's get right to it. At Franco's studio, Elizabeth briefly looked at a landscape painting of these two boys like looking towards these two trees. Franco comes in the room and she stops looking at it. He wants her to start painting again, share the studio, they can paint together, and she's gonna leave it to him for now. He doesn't want to revisit the darkness. What if one darkness can't exist without the other? She reminds him that he was in a different headspace, like literally in a different headspace, but he can't blame everything on the tumor, but he can blame it on the fact that he was a different person. Hey, sorry, that's just me. Franco wants to focus on their life now. He says that she's the first sane girlfriend he's had, and he's terrified of messing up the little world that they've created. Elizabeth pulls out the painting that she was looking at before, and she wants him to tell her about it because it's so different from all his other paintings. And he quickly changes the subject and tells her that Ava is going to let him show his artwork at the gallery. Cool, but not what Elizabeth wanted to know. But he is worried that his paintings won't sell. And Elizabeth looks at the painting she had pulled out and is like, well, this one's gorgeous, I'm sure it'll sell. And he's like, well, that one's not going to be for sale. And she talks about the doubling and everything has a counterpoint, and she just needs to know more about it because it's so different. And he says that this painting is of an imaginary friend he had as a kid who he pictured lived in a world that mirrored theirs, which is a really cool concept. At the Metro Court, Ned finds Alexis. The trial gets brought up, and Ned, it turns out, is in the market for her legal services. He wants to update his will and add Olivia and Leo to it, and he wants to add Leo as his son because he still intends to adopt him. Alexis won't represent him for the adoption. He thought maybe she could convince Julian to sign over his parental rights, but she's not going to do that for like a million different reasons. And now Ned has questions. Is she still hung up on Julian? She doesn't know. She has a lot of feelings, and right now she's not sure which ones are winning out. And honestly, I don't blame her. It's complicated. This is what that part of Facebook was made for, because this is the most complicated it gets, pretty much. And she talks about how she always goes for the same type of guy, and there's this other side to Julian that he can't help, that he was just born into, just like her. And she knows at the end of the day it's excuses because people are who they choose to be, but her head and her heart aren't agreeing. When you're the one in this position and you're the one who loves this person, you can't look like, even though objectively you could see what's wrong, like you can't tell yourself not to feel a certain way. And you know, she says it won't work anymore. She wants out, and she just has to figure out a way out of these feelings. In the courtroom, aka Julian's trial, part 3, the trial is resuming. Prosecution has a surprise witness. The judge will allow it, and the surprise witness is Winston Rudge. Plot twist. Scott puts up a fight. He wasn't privy to this. The prosecution tries to make a case, and turns out he may proceed. So the prosecution asks when Rudge first met Olivia Jerome, well over a year ago, talking about buying the store and preparations, but there was no specifics. Her brother was involved. He didn't know a lot, but apparently he was willing to do anything. They hid out at the store. He wasn't present at the first meeting of Olivia and Julian, and Scott objects for hearsay, but no, apparently. The first time that Rudge met Julian was for a lengthy conference with Olivia, future plans and how to achieve them, which sounds like a seminar, to be quite honest with you. Julian tells Scott he's lying, and Winston calls them conspiratorial. Scott objects again, and the prosecutor points out Alexis's deposition. Rudge came to the house, and Julian was unsettled, but claimed that Rudge was a friend at the time, so was he lying then, or is he lying now? And Scott tells Julian that he'll deal with him on cross, but he needs to calm down. Rudge says that Julian was pleased that Morgan was killed and was moving forward with plans. Julian can't even right now. He is the epitome of can't even. He always seemed to be a willing participant. Objection sustained. Rudge says Julian was worried about legal ramifications, and the plan was that if Julian got caught, he would say he was coerced but he was always a willing accomplice. Rudge says that he himself was just a delivery person and the Jeromes were the inner circle. Another sustained for Scott. Did the defendant say anything to Olivia in the motel room around the time of the hospital bombing? And he said yes, to tie him up and make it look like he was coerced. Scott cross-examines. Was he aware that Julian tried to kill Olivia all those years ago? That doesn't exactly sound like two people who are like super close. And Rudge says, no, that's exactly why Julian was helping her, because he felt so guilty for what he had done to her. Then Scott brings up Alexis's testimony. Why would Rudge's visit upset Julian so much if they were buddy-buddy? And honestly, Rudge doesn't have a real answer to this. This was like a really good question. And he says, well, Olivia would know. And he goes, wasn't it true Olivia had him stalking Julian? And he won't say because sometimes he wasn't in the loop. So, okay, that raises a lot of problems, because if he wasn't in the loop at all times, then how can he testify to what was going on? And he doesn't think any of the testimony is true. He brings up the fact that Rudge has negotiated for a lesser sentence in exchange for his testimony. And Rudge says, no, I came here because I just had to make things right for Alexis and Sam and Anna and Robin. And Julian jumps up and is like, he says it's a lie and just starts going off on him. And from the look of Rudge, that's just the reaction that he was looking for Julian. He had to make Julian break out of that, you know, that control. As Sonny's, Sam tells Carly, I have it written, Sam tells Carly she's not Sonny, which is such a surprise. No, Sam tells Carly she shot Sonny. Jason tries to cut it, but Sam won't stay silent. She has to tell. Carly doesn't think it makes sense. You know, Sam says that she collapsed right afterwards and didn't remember anything when she woke up, and she started to remember, and like she's beyond sorry. Like she literally can't say sorry more. Carly can't believe it's real. Why? Sam didn't know what was real at the time. She started hearing and seeing things. She was hallucinating. She was having hallucinations of Sonny telling her that he was going to take away her family, and she was protecting her family. Like that's why she was doing this. She was so scared. She bought a gun on the black market and staked Sonny's house out. She followed him, and now Carly is really listening because this sounds like a plan. She tells Carly more details, that Sonny was amazing, he was sympathetic, and even though she had a gun on him, he still tried to talk her down. And Sonny started to walk towards her, and that's when she shot him in the leg, and he honestly didn't think she would shoot him. Carly's trying to understand. So the gun went off, so it was an accident, and Sam's like, no, I meant it. I meant to pull that trigger. It wasn't an accident. It was 100% on purpose. And Sonny didn't defend himself. And I'm like, so now in my head, I'm like, well, this next part isn't going to go over well. She says how she kicked Sonny into the hole. She looked down and thought he was dead and just left him there. And again, beyond sorry. Sonny calls her over. He says it wasn't her fault. She had an infection. It wasn't her, and she has nothing to be sorry for. Sonny says everything is fine. There's no more what ifs. He's fine. Everything turned out. There was no tragedy. Sonny brings up himself and Morgan. Jason will also take blame. He feels that he did nothing. And Sam says, no, you made me go to the doctor. Like, yes, you did. And he's like, no, but I should have seen that it was a lot more serious. And Sam's like, no, there were no signs. Like, I was hiding. And Sam doesn't want Jason to do this to himself. That's the last thing she wants. She was terrified. And she can't understand because she trusts Jason the most, so why wouldn't she go to him for help? Sonny tells her that that's what happens with things like this. All you do is cover. He's been there. And the people you trust the most become your enemies. She's worried she's still sick, and, you know, what if she keeps having more hallucinations? And Sonny's like, well, have you had any since the treatment? And she says no, and he goes, exactly, it's over. Carly's like, no, it's not as long as the police are investigating. And now end scene. Franco's holding back his imaginary friend he feels was a helper, a vague memory, but almost like a real memory. And at this point, I'm like, writing on the wall. He has a memory of him showing him off a merry-go-round. Like, there's just a lot. Julian's out of control. He threatens Rudge's life in the courtroom, and that's all she wrote pretty much right there. Carly sees Sonny was covering, and Jason had put it together pretty quickly. They wanted to protect Sam, and Carly absolutely agrees that Sam needed to be protected from the cops, but why keep her out of the loop? Why not tell her the truth? And Sonny's, well, things were volatile. And Carly says to volatile? I apologize if I mispronounced that. And Carly says, after 20 years of friendship, how could they keep this from her? And that's where we leave off. So let's keep going, and I will see you for more General Hospital. Okay, bye.